development on the edge of King's Lynn has been granted approval by the government after a planning inquiry. That's despite hundreds of objections. 600 homes will be built on land at Knights Hill in South Wootton. That's in addition to another 600 homes already approved there. Local people are worried that it will stretch local services, bring traffic to a halt on the A148 and spoil sensitive wildlife sites. North West Norfolk MP James Wiles stood up for local concerns at the inquiry, and he's been giving us his reaction to the Secretary of State's decision to approve the development.
Well, it's certainly a very disappointing decision. It's based on an inspector's report that overrides the strong local feeling and opposition there is to putting 600 houses on this site, and it's amplified by the fact that the inspector acknowledges that this development is not needed to meet the housing targets for the borough, but nonetheless still recommended it to proceed. So obviously I spoke at the planning inquiry on behalf of my constituents, so I'm very disappointed and saddened that their views have been disregarded.
Yeah, I guess one of the concerns is that the cumulative effect here means that the character of the area could be really changed.
Yeah, that's a danger. That's one of the points I made in both correspondence to the inquiry and in my statement. This 600 is on top of 600 that already been approved and would potentially increase South Wootton by 70%, which is obviously a significant increase in an area that people enjoy living in.
Would you see this latest decision being challenged further at the High Court?
Well, I think I've read the decision this afternoon. It runs to 200 paragraphs. It's for everyone now to have a look at it and study it in detail. It's open to the council or other interested parties to potentially take this to the High Court, but they need to have strong grounds on which to do so, and they need to study the decision carefully. It's just disappointing that we don't need this proposal to go ahead in order to meet the housing targets for the borough of Kings Lynn and West Norfolk. We've already identified the sites, and so we're going to get a proposal and development here which the local people don't want, is unnecessary, and I'm concerned will put more pressure on the local roads, more pressure on local health service at a time when they're already facing strain and people are struggling to get GP appointments and other public services.
We hear this kind of build strategy by the government. Is there a bit of a risk that developments like this will get through as a result of that?
Well, I think one of the complicating factors here was that the site was within the borough local plan, although they subsequently were planning to remove it, so it wasn't required. So that's been a slight complication in how this application's been handled. It just underlines the importance that the local plan reflects where we want to see development. I'm not opposed to development per se. I want to see more homes for local people, but they should be in the right places on transport corridors. The problem with this is where it sits on the 149 and one of the key roads into Kings Lynn is the congestion there is already significant, getting into the port, into the industrial area of Kings Lynn for HGVs, and this is just going to make it worse. So, I mean, as part of this decision, there's a whole host of further decisions that the Borough Council will be making in terms of specific planning measures and conditions that have to be met as the proposal goes ahead. So there is further opportunity for the Borough to shape this proposal if it's not successfully appealed in order to minimise the impact as far as possible. But there's no hiding the fact I'm disappointed, I'm upset, I'm angry for my constituents. I spoke up on their behalf. I've made strong representations on this, and unfortunately the decision's not gone the way that I or many people in North West Norfolk would want.